Hello. Hello, everyone. Hello. Hello to you all. Happy Monday. Hello, everyone. Happy to see you. And happy to see so many people right away. Okay, before we begin, just a couple of words in Russian while we're waiting, and then the English part. Всем здравствуйте! Рада видеть такое большое количество человек буквально в первую минуту. Видно, у многих уже начались праздники, каникулы, потому что обычно мы ждем минуты 3, пока все соберутся. Если вы видите меня впервые или забыли, кто я, меня зовут Елена, я преподаватель английского онлайн-школы AllRight. Мы обучаем и детей, и взрослых от 4 лет, да, детей, подростков и взрослых английскому языку. И так как у нас преподаватели по всему миру, то на данный момент мы обучаем не только английскому, но и другим языкам. Я лично веду только уроки английского языка. И здесь в Инстаграме вы можете смотреть мои уроки 2 раза в неделю. Понедельник 14:00 по Москве, средний и высший уровень, или школьники и старше. И среда 14:00 по Москве, это начальный и высший уровень, или дошкольники и старше. Если, опять же, вы только пару моих уроков посмотрели или первый раз сегодня попали на урок и пропустили все предыдущие, я их веду с апреля, не огорчайтесь. Вы можете пересмотреть уроки, которые шли до ноября, здесь у нас на IGTV-канале в Инстаграме. Они по уровням и по темам, поэтому можете начинать с самого начала. И также уже с ноября уроки выпускаются только на нашем YouTube-канале. Он также называется, как и наш Instagram-канал, AllRight. Поэтому заходите на YouTube, пожалуйста, смотрите остальные уроки. И, кстати, сегодня у нас тема Christmas Presents Part 2, да, рождественские подарки, 2 часть. Поэтому, если вы пропустили первую, пожалуйста, заходите на YouTube-канал. И там пересматривайте все, что вы пропустили. На общие вопросы, я напоминаю, я отвечаю в конце эфира. И также для тех, кто не знает, уточню, что по понедельникам для старших у нас есть рубрика Ellen's Guest. Это у нас 5 минут прямого эфира с гостем. То есть я задаю вопрос, кто первый правильно ответит, добавляю к себе в прямой эфир, и мы наживо общаемся на английском языке около 5 минут. Вы мне задаете вопросы, я вам задаю вопросы, смотря как у нас с вами построится диалог. Так, и в самом начале также упомяну очень быстро, для тех из вас, кто не знает, у нас еще пару дней действует фотоконкурс с 3 призовыми местами для нынешних учеников, которые уже занимаются у нас в школе. То есть вы выставляете пост, видео, отмечая нас хэштегом, да, отмечая нашу школу, и вы можете выиграть от 5 до 2 бесплатных уроков себе на учетку. Для того, чтобы узнать условия, пожалуйста, найдите пост, или, возможно, сегодня его еще продублируют в сторис. Вот. Если вы не найдете, обратитесь к администратору, просто подскажите условия фотоконкурса, если вы хотите участвовать. Для тех же из вас, кто еще у нас не занимается, у нас небывалая акция, то есть 21% скидки на большой пакет 25 или 50 уроков при первой оплате до 10 января. Поэтому если вы все думали, но никак не решались, вот он ваш шанс. Так, окей, и я напоминаю, что сегодняшний урок я практически не перевожу. Пока я показываю слайды, я комментарии выключу, чтобы вам было видно, что, собственно, я показываю. Потом комментарии я включу. Если будут вопросы, пожалуйста, пишите. Вот. И как только я закончу урок, я перезайду, вы перезаходите вместе со мной, у нас будет эфир с гостем. Okay, so today we're talking about Christmas presents part 2. And we begin in the early 63, I believe? Let me check. It's been a week. Yeah. So I took 1 year and picked one most popular present of that year for you to see that some of the presents were popular like 50 years ago and are still popular to give for Christmas. And today we shall continue with 1987. This year is interesting for me because I was born in 1987. So if you were born in 1987 as well or later, you can find out today what was the most popular present in your year. I think that's funny. Okay, so this is a lesson for middle school or high school or adults. So if you don't understand anything or very, very little, please come on Wednesday. Итак, последний мой комментарий на общий вопрос. Я выключаю комментарии, чтобы провести урок. Для какого класса этот урок? Смотрите, у меня уроки не рассчитаны на то, что это 1, 2 или 5 класс. То есть есть уровень начальный, есть средний. Поэтому если вы уже владеете разговорным, хоть на каком-то среднем уровне, это средняя и старшая школа, да, зависит от ребенка, потому что все мы в разных условиях, с разного возраста, с разными учителями, на кружках изучаем английский. Поэтому давайте просто ориентироваться проще. Если вам хотя бы половина понятна того, что я говорю, оставайтесь на этом эфире. Если вообще ничего не понятно, тогда вы приходите на уроки по средам. Уточню, что в эту среду уже урока не будет. С 30 числа я ухожу в отпуск. Вот, я тоже человек, мне тоже надо отдыхать и готовиться к праздникам. Вот, поэтому, without further ado, let's continue. So, turning off the comments and showing you my slides. As usually, love the slides. And I wonder whether you know how much time it takes to prepare those slides. So it's not a fast job. Okay, but anyways, 1987, Jenga, can you believe it, was the most popular game? So this is weird for me because I love Jenga and I was born in 1987. So I'm very happy that this game was popular in the year I was born. And in that year they sold, not in that year, actually since 1987 they sold like 50 million Jengas. Can you imagine that? 50 million Jengas. Okay, 1988 starting lineup. So these are baseball players' figurines. And the interesting fact is that this one was invented by a football player. So not a baseball player, but a football player decided to sell baseball figurines. Interesting one. Then next up we have Game Boy. Okay, this is not a Tetris, just to make sure. So Game Boy, these are like the first, well, I'm not very good with, PCs or Nintendos, but I think you can compare this to that one. So Game Boy. Then 1990, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I know that there are a couple of versions of this, like cartoon or story. There are comics. There's cartoon from, I believe, 1986, which I watched when I was a kid. But I know that Nickelodeon nowadays has the newest version, and in the toy stores you can find the newest versions of the figurines. But I personally prefer the old ones because the new ones look like not turtles but frogs to me personally. So that depends. 1991, Super Nintendo. So when I was in middle school, I think, I had one of those. Well, at least it looked like that. I'm not sure it was a Nintendo. But I had like, 3 or 4 games, and they looked like cassettes. So you had to buy a cassette, put it into the Nintendo, and then play a game. Those of you who are my age, remember the time when those cassettes would lie around the house and you would walk and sometimes accidentally step on one of those. So you could actually crush a game with your bare feet, and it was a real disaster. So, computer games. Yay. And on the previous lesson, I told you that if we compare the 1970s and 1980s, then the games were more simple, like dolls or some figurines or some chemistry sets. But then since the 1990s, the presents became to be more electronical, so devices, not actually toys, but more of devices. Okay, 1992, Barbie Dream House. So this was the most popular present, and we're talking mostly about most popular presents in the US, of course, not in like Russia or I don't know, somewhere in India. So this is the top list of US presidents since 1963. And you can compare this to your personal list if you have one. But I've never had a house, like a Barbie house, but I had a Barbie van house, or you can call it a lorry. So it was like a huge car, and it turned into a house. And I was very happy to have it. Then 1993, Talk Boy. And actually there's a funny story about this one. So this is like a recording machine. But initially, this device, it was made for making Home Alone 2, the movie. And it wasn't a device, so it was just like a prop. But then, after the movie was released, they began making those. If you've ever seen the movie Back in Time, or no, not Back in Time, Back into the Future, I think, then many things that were in the movie then were created in real life. So this thing has the same story. It was made like a prop for Home Alone 2, but then it appeared in real life. So this is a recording machine. You can just walk and record. If you watch again Home Alone 1 or Home Alone 2, you'll probably see this device in the movie, which is nice. Then 1994, Power Rangers. Those of you who have Netflix and have kids, you can watch Power Rangers even now. Different cartoons, not cartoons, they're like TV series, I think. Seriale, TV series with Power Rangers, and they're different. The first time I saw Power Rangers was in, probably 1994. I went to an exchange family in Italy for a month, and that was the first time I saw Power Rangers. It was like, what is that? So like a miracle for me. Then 1995, Beanie Babies. So those of you who don't know what that is, this is a soft toy, мягкая игрушка, soft toy, but it has tiny beanies inside. Но там внутри маленькие шарики. So when you touch the soft toy, you're like touching the small beanies, and it's like a soother toy, такая успокоительная игрушка. The crab is just an example, because even now, if you Google them on Amazon or eBay, like Beanie Babies, you will find that they are like a whole series. There are rabbits, foxes, dogs, fish, crabs, so anything you want to buy. Then 1996, Tickle Me Elmo. The Sesame Street, if you've ever seen, so they look like similar. Elmo is a character. And if you tickle it, it laughs. So 1996, we can say, is quite the beginning of interactive toys popularity, when you can touch them or use a remote and they will do something. Then, 1997. If you don't know what that is, you're very young. But if you know what that is, it means like probably you're 30 plus age, like me. So this is a Tamagotchi. Before we had iPhones and smartphones, we actually didn't have phones. And this was the first digital toy you could get to, not to keep at home, but you could carry this to school or outside the house. So what it is, it looks like an egg, and inside you may have an animal, like a digital chicken or a dinosaur or something that hatches outside the egg. And then you have to feed it. It has to go to the toilet. You have to put it to sleep. So care about it like after a real baby. And if you don't care about it, it may die. So once I left my Tamagotchi with my mom because I couldn't take it to school, and my mom has forgotten about it, and it died. So anyways, funny story. You can Google that one. 1998 Furby. And I know that you can still buy a Furby even now, like 20 years later, right? And it's very soft, cute, but now it appears to be like a robot, so it can move, it can make sounds. A very fluffy, nice thing. 1999 Pokemon cards. I didn't know if there are still people who haven't heard of Pokemons, but they were, are, and maybe will be quite popular. But in 1999, you couldn't buy a Pokemon, you bought Pokemon cards. Now you can actually buy a Pokemon or watch a movie about it, or watch a cartoon. 2000, Razor scooter. I don't know how about you, but when I was a kid, I did not have a scooter. My brother had a skateboard, but scooters were not quite popular where I lived, and you couldn't actually buy them, I guess. So you could buy the bike or rollerblades or a skateboard, but not a scooter. So now most of the kids have scooters, and this is not something, you probably wish for New Year, but I know that probably nowadays kids dream about electric scooters, right? Those can be quite dangerous, by the way. Then 2001, pogo stick. Okay, if you're wondering what this is not to use in a circus, but this is a jumping stick. So you stand on those two parts and you jump on the stick. It's quite hard because you have to find the balance. Then 2002, fur real cat. So it's a robo cat with fur, and it makes sound. So if you're allergic to cats, or if you don't want to have a pet, but your kid wants one, so I think that this would be a nice solution. Then, next one, 2003, Robo Sapiens. I've never had one. I'm not sure what that is, but I guess that it's a real cool robot with a remote that can do lots of stuff. 2004, Nintendo DS. As you can see in my previous lesson and in this one, we've had different versions of Nintendo because within years, they have changed the outlook, the technology. So this one is a pocket version as well. You can take it anywhere. But I think that it's not really comparable with nowadays PCs and so on because it has a very small screen. So you don't get that kind of excitement playing it. Then 2005, Xbox 360. So this is more like it, right? By the way, later in comments, you can write how many of you have a PlayStation at home or an Xbox, because I've never had one. I mean, when I was in school, I had like a Nintendo or something, but I've never had the modern version. 2006, PlayStation 3. The closer to 2020, the more digitalized the presents are. 2007, iPod Touch. So I'm not sure that everybody knows what an iPod is. So when I was where was I? When I was at the university, actually, I've bought myself my first and only iPod because I didn't have an iPhone. I had a CD player, so it's like this big circle made of steel, and you have to put CDs inside it. And the big circle doesn't really fit into, your pockets. So you have to have these long earphones and put the CD into your bag. Or you have to buy a coat with really large pockets to put the CD inside. So time came for me that I saw this very small iPod. So in the first version, it didn't have a screen even. So there was no screen, just the buttons. And you could put how many, whatever quantity of songs you wanted. It was a miracle. So it was small, it fit anywhere, and it had an enormous number of songs. So my first Apple device was actually an iPod. Then I had, the second iPhone, I think. Okay, 2008 Nintendo Wii. 2009 Juju Pets. I have nothing to say about this one. I don't know why it was so popular, but it wasn't popular for long, that's for sure. 2010 iPad. And look, I have an iPad. So it's an iPad on an iPad. 2011 LeapPad Explorer. So this was more of a version for children with different interactive and entertainment, educational games for children. So it was difficult to break this one. 2012, Wii U. And as you can see, this has a bigger screen, so it gives you more of excitement while playing different games. 2013, Texta, the robotic puppy. And nowadays, if you go to the toy store, you can see many robots there. They look like dogs, they look like robots, they look like, I don't know, some people, whatever. So you can buy any of those. They make sounds, they move. They may record your voice and then repeat it, so different functions. 2014, Zoomer Dino. For me, it looks like, to me, it looks like a dinosaur riding on baseballs. But anyways, that's a robot. 2015, Star Wars Remote Control BB-8. I'm not a fan of Star Wars, although I've seen most of the parts, but if you're one, I think this would be a really nice gift. 2016, NAS Classic Edition. Again, Nintendo, PlayStation, games. 2017, Lego Boost. Okay, I actually have this one, and I'm telling you, this is super crazy interesting. My son is 5.5, and he can already by himself assemble like more than half of each robot. So he does have some difficulties with some of the details, but otherwise it's really interactive, really interesting, and it gives you a hint about coding and programming as well. So you can combine it also with Lego Arctic, and I know that you can combine it with a dragon from Lego Ninjago, but I don't have one and I couldn't find it anywhere in my city to buy. 2018, most popular, Hot Wheels track. I have a son, so I love Hot Wheels, and we have lots of them. I don't buy the tracks myself, but like our friends and relatives, they often give Hot Wheels as a gift to my son. The tracks, the cars, the monster trucks. So we have lots of them. So hope you love them as well if you have kids. 2019, AirPods. So last year, AirPods were the most popular gift. And obviously I'm wearing ones. So that's it with the top list of most popular presents beginning with 1963 till 2019, mostly in US. But also I wanted to share some of my ideas with you about what presents we could give. So for now, the lesson is over. While I'm telling you about my options, you can write your questions in the comments, okay? Так, ну что ж, рассмотрели с вами разные варианты подарков. Я сейчас вам также покажу свои вариации каких-то простых, но очень приятных вещей, которые я люблю получать или дарить друзьям и родственникам. А вы в это время можете написать свои вопросы в комментариях. Okay, so first of all, it's always a good idea to give some Christmas decorations as a gift. For example, a little wooden Christmas tree with different decorations. I love this one. We bought it in a decoration store. My son loved it. And he actually put all the figurines on the tree himself. So that's a good idea. Then, I don't know how about you, but after visiting Dane, I just went crazy for candles. So I love candles, especially the ones that you can smell. This one is quite expensive, but I really wanted it. It's a village candle, and it has, you know, the winter clementine scent, so it smells like pine and clementines, so it's like the smell of New Year in the house. And even if you don't light it up, it still gives you the wonderful scent. So I just love smelling the scent from the candles and the atmosphere they create. Also, you can give different Christmas figurines, such as gnomes, or, you know, different figurines of Father Christmas, or Santa, or elves, or a reindeer, something nice. If you have children, or if you are a child, you can also make a present. For example, we made these out of some clay, like Play-Doh, but it, you know, stiffens in time. So you can make a Christmas tree or a snowman. And then my son goes to these clay lessons where they make something out of clay and then they bake it in the oven. So he made one for me and one with a penguin for his grandma. She was like super happy, like, wow, did he make this? This is really cool. But my top present this year, and I just fell in love with it, is the snow globe. So, Merry Christmas to you all and Happy New Year. Hope to see you all next year too. Okay. Ну что ж, спасибо вам большое за то, что вы меня смотрели. Особенно тем, кто меня смотрит давно, с начала карантина. Вот, если вы недавно присоединились, буду рада, если вы останетесь. Это наш завершающий с вами урок в этом году. Я ухожу в отпуск, многие из вас уходят на каникулы, но мы бы не хотели, чтобы вы скучали в новогодние праздники, поэтому на нашем YouTube-канале AllRight 3 января целый день будут уроки для дошкольников, то есть начального уровня, в прямом эфире на YouTube, а 5 января для школьников и старше. Поэтому если вы сами учите английский, вы взрослые, или вы с детьми учите, и дети учат самостоятельно, то, пожалуйста, присоединяйтесь к нам 3 и 5 числа на нашем YouTube-канале AllRight. Так, сейчас я готова ответить на ваши вопросы, если они есть. Если нет, то я тогда перезайду, создам новый эфир, и мы с кем-то из вас пообщаемся вживую. Так, с наступающим, спасибо большое, вас всех же так, всем желаю... to be healthy and wealthy, да, здоровья и достатка. Вот, чтобы у вас все сложилось, to get the presents you want, получить подарки, которые вы хотите, and to have at least one wish come true, чтобы хотя бы одно желание, желательно самое заповедное, у вас сбылось. Так, давайте еще минуту жду, если вопросов нету, тогда перезахожу. Там я, кстати, тоже после эфира с гостем, если вы все-таки вспомните, что у вас остался какой-то вопрос, вы сможете мне его написать. Я пока напомню, что у нас еще буквально пару дней действует фотоконкурс, то есть вы размещаете пост, где ваш ребенок под елочкой или как-то креативно изучает с AllRight английский, если вы уже у нас занимаетесь, отмечаете нас, ставите хэштег, и рандомно потом система 30 числа выберет 3 победителей, то есть первое место это 5 бесплатных уроков, второе место 3 бесплатных урока и третье место 2 бесплатных урока вам начислит школа. Если вы еще у нас не занимаетесь, то до 10 января при покупке пакета 25 или 50 уроков вы получите скидку 21%. То есть, это 1/5 от стоимости пакета, таких скидок у нас еще никогда не было, поэтому если вы ждали знака, это он. Так, вижу, что вопросов нету. Хорошо, тогда я сохраняю эфир. Всех еще раз с наступающим. Все, кто хотят поучаствовать или посмотреть на эфир с гостем, пожалуйста, не расходитесь, перезаходите в следующий эфир, он буквально минуту.